We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
You can hear that,
The
right?
views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
When I think about those nights in Montreal, all I think about is weed. Memories of city lights and packing bowls. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Quebec Connection. And it's me and Loretta.
On week 3, here we are.
I know, it's week 3 already. Like, it's unbelievable already, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we've had a beautiful week here in Quebec. You were saying where you are, the weather hasn't been very nice.
No, it really hasn't. It's been, long weekend. So it's been
You've been busy in your garden, though. Seems like you've been doing lots of garden stuff and farming stuff. You're smoking meat.
Oh.
Like a farm girl out there.
Well, the sun did come out, like, for, 3 hours on Saturday. So I'd got my herb garden done, but the big garden didn't get turned over. It's just too, yeah. But yeah, we got all that meat. We got that half a beef, so I've been using my smoker. My poor husband had to go back to work, and he forgot all the jerky on the counter.
Well, that's good. He left it then for you and the boy.
Yeah, Taven, he doesn't eat so much out of that stuff. I don't know. He says it hurts his teeth. He's kind of a fuss. But that way.
Do you smoke a lot of it, like, so that it, like, because it lasts longer, right? Like, is it kind of like a preservative when you smoke it?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's same as like the old time when they smoked meat, so it stays better. So it's like preserving it absolutely. So it can sit on the counter. If you throw it in the fridge, it gets too hot, or too cold, and it's too hard. So yeah, it's not great for that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, it's good to. And the chickens started laying again, so I'm getting like a dozen eggs a day just out of my chickens, and then I'm also getting like I don't know, dozen quail eggs too. So we're just it's egg poopalooza over here. I was able
that's
to give.
So cool.
I was able to give some
you could do a little farm. Like, can't you be like a little farm girl at a little market and have like a little egg stand or whatever?
I'd like to next summer. I want to start pickling them. But then, like I said, there's so many. I've got school. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do any of this stuff when it comes to that farming stuff. I'm gonna be starting school probably in the fall, so I'm gonna have to get through all this stuff and then try and maybe go to school too. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you're always doing 25 different things at the same time.
Right. So I don't know how. I don't know what the heck. And I hear this dog yapping its lips, and it's just going to have to be poked in the eye. So you go ahead and talk for a minute while I go poke this dog in the eye and let everybody know what you've been doing this week.
Okay. Well, I had fun today in a garden. Usually on Mondays, I spend some time in a garden. And I do love being in the garden, that's for sure. I love watering the garden. And today we were making hash too. That was fun. Hang out with some boys, and we have a good time, that's for sure. One of them often complains a lot about me. But no, we have a lot of fun. And I modified my petition, and I finally feel like it's finished. So I figured I could read that in a little bit. And I'm gonna put it in head shops, and I'm gonna put it in with some key restaurant folks and bar people. And I'm just gonna see if I can. We have a mayor's race coming up in November, and I'm gonna see if at least we can have it be a discussion to get lounges going in the city of Montreal.
That'd be awesome. And did you go over the petition? Did you read your petition while I was gone?
No, I didn't. I haven't read it yet, but I will.
Okay, well we can read that in a little bit because I think it's really exciting that you've taken this initiative on, because I know you've been talking about lounges, like you and I have known each other for 100 years, but I've been listening to you've been talking about this for 10 years, like, and seriously, yeah, absolutely,
I've been talking about forever.
And harm reduction, and the hand in hand, and how it goes with harm reduction, and how patients shouldn't be on the street to have to be smoking their medicine, and that's another thing we've got to get back to, is the fact that this is medicine for a lot of people, and the recreational market really has left the patients out, which again leaves that lounge gap, right?
Yeah, for sure. And now, everything that you're saying is true, but one of the reasons why I'm focusing on the mayor's race is because the provinces distribute the cannabis, are responsible through their Ministry of Health and whatever, their lottery, or however they're distributing it. Each province has their own unique way. But the cities also want, their piece. So it's about the timing of, the city's election, but also, any opportunity. Usually when an election comes around, especially a federal one, you'll get like, Jagmeet Singh will say something about ending the war on drugs. Like, he'll say a little bit, like it won't be much. Trudeau will say, no, he doesn't want to decriminalize all drugs, but he wants to do, he understands, like he kind of says he understands.
Well, he's pandering, he's pandering to the base of liberals that still don't understand harm reduction. And trust me, there's a lot of old liberals in the party that are just as slanted conservatively that way when it comes to the reefer madness. It took a lot to even get some of them on board about cannabis, but bringing some of them old liberals on board for decriminalizing all drugs until that, like I said, it's tough.
It takes, everything happens incrementally. Okay, so but. Like, at some point, they are going to have to start talking about that the war on drugs policy was the worst human rights policy for half a century. Like, it did so much damage. Like, they haven't, like, they still, their minds are still in the mindset that, they had to do the war on drugs to help people stop taking drugs, when in fact, it just made like so many more drugs, you know what I mean? And so many more criminals. Like, it was just the stupidest.
Well, maybe if they wouldn't
policy,
have gone to war.
But it was also,
over and over again, war. And war brought in the pain brought in the opioids for the pain then led to drug addiction, the pain. So what this kind of all boils down to is fucking men being greedy motherfuckers, and it all boils down to war and trauma. And they still haven't got that, even in our military now. They still, they say they've got PTSD support and all this stuff, but do they? They can't even handle the fucking sexual assault in the goddamn military, never mind fucking PTSD.
I mean, do they even, like, is there any high-ranking military, I know there is, okay, that, hasn't been charged with sexual misconduct, but, clearly, like, clearly there's a cultural problem, right?
Obviously.
But,
I think it runs rampant. I think it runs rampant in the RCMP. I think it runs rampant in our military.
We're not surprised. We're not surprised.
Not even shocked.
Really, we're not. But sadly, for the first, for the women who were like, the first women on the forces and in the, just so what this, what they've been through is just
I was talking to my husband about this, and how generationally, as women, we were told to play hard to get. Don't let a man get, have you. And then they were taught that they had to fight for us, right? So they never said that sex was something a woman should enjoy. It should be something that a man should take. And that was generational. And now we have this rape culture out there of men that watch porn that think that, all the shit that these girls are doing in these fucking movies are what normal women actually do. They flip-flop around, wear fucking, I don't know, something hanging out of their ass all the time. I don't even want to even go there on some of the levels of some of this porn. I don't watch it, but just some of the clips and stuff that I get passed by me sometimes, it's like, what in the actual fuck? So we've got a generation of all of these fantasies and all these incels that can't even find a date. And then we go into sexual abuse and rape culture because we're not teaching our boys. When everybody says don't blame the parents, It is. It's on us for not teaching our boys that that's not normal shit.
Yeah, well,
and teaching our girls that they don't have to look like that. They don't need fucking fake tits, and they don't need to get Botox in their faces. We are teaching our children that it's not okay to be you. And then again, we teach them to do yourself and make sure you don't care what anybody thinks and do you and self-care. And now they're just a selfish bunch of fucking pricks. So, you know what I mean? You got a bunch of selfish little pricks that don't have fucking any fucking drive to do anything. And this is what we're leaving our world to. And then none of them will get vaccines either because they think that we're all a bunch of crazy fucking boomers.
Well, there's always been that generational divide, but I mean, I have faith in some of the younger ones, I really do, but I also I can hear what you're saying in terms of
I'm just looking at it from my kids' perspective. I put up something about masks. I'm getting, well, if you're vaccinated, why are you wearing a mask? Don't you have any faith in your vaccine? I don't have any faith that you're not vaccinated and you're not going to spread it. And there's still that 5% that I could get it. So I'm not taking that 5% chance that you're a dirty fucking unvaccinated person. Right? I don't know. Taman goes in for his vaccine on Thursday. Like my kid.
I mean it's crazy though. It's crazy, that we're living in a world where it's the masks and the unvaccinated, and there's just people are believing in so many conspiracies and the big lie, about Trump and the election. I mean, we're living in crazy times. That's for sure.
We've been living in crazy times for the last 10 years. Like I said, I thought cannabis activism was fucking crazy. And then things got legal. And then it got crazier. You're seeing a bunch of microcrafting getting all, congratulations to Matt Barron and Kurt Tusaw, who just got their microcraft production license. So there's, two of our people that, used to work with us that are now legally licensed for microcrafting, which is terrific. You know what I mean? Like they've worked really hard to get there. Again, I'm not against that. I'm just saying we have patience, and now we're looking at this consultation that's hanging over our head. And I will have Ross on my show in a couple weeks here coming up. We're going to talk a little more about this, but again, I don't know when it ends. I think it was May the 17th or May the 27th. So we've got a couple more days until it's actually done, I believe. But it's concerning because, well, from what I'm hearing, they're likely going to cap plant count. They're likely going to end up capping it. And I hate to say this because I don't like the diversion. And my concern is that the diversion is not so much going onto the street because, let's face it, I used to sell a fair bit of weed. I don't bother anymore because there's like the store down the block around the corner and there's all these other nice places. So the patient diversion isn't going into these stores. It's not coming out of these stores. It's not coming out of anybody's houses. It's coming out of the reserves. Mm-hmm. And another way for the government to stifle the vulnerable, stifle the First Nations, stop them from actually getting ahead, because they can't go in and do anything. They can't stop them. Sovereign land. They can do whatever the fuck they want out there. Mm-hmm. But they can stop their supply. Mm-hmm. And if that's where they figure the diversions for patients plant grow is going, they're going to try and stop that. And I'm not saying this is going to happen. This is my prediction. I talked a little bit about this before the show. I'm not saying any of this is fact. It's my conspiracy theory and my tinfoil hat, I guess, if you want to, look at it as a conspiracy theory. But this is my prediction or my thoughts on it. So I honestly believe that, and I'm all for the First Nation. Like I said before, I think the First Nations should have got first crack at legalization. I think they should have been given the hammer down from the get-go. They
definitely have the advantage right now, many of them. For sure, in terms of dispensaries, and so, but I'm not. I think you're right. There's an effort to.
So I think this is an effort to
the black market
to strangle the black market in any way, shape, or form that they can. They're figuring if people can grow 4 plants themselves, then they're not going to be buying it, and that's not true. People can't. 4 plants doesn't keep anybody supplied. I'm sorry, like it just doesn't. Like people, and they're still going and using the licensed production stores. But I'm not seeing people lined up out those stores either. And when it's oversaturated, like I said, the way the market seems to be, it's just oversaturation. with the legal market. I don't know. Like I said, there's now, I don't know how many licensed producers, over 500, I think. And now they've just added another 40 microcraft production nurseries. So there's going to be likely, 400 plus of them. So there's, and here's my concern. Like I said, there's not 600 fucking soda pop plants around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's Coke and Pepsi, right? Whatever. And Coke and Pepsi pretty much have a little plant here and a little plant there and a little plant here. And in the beginning of time, there was fucking 6 million little pop fucking soda factories going on. And at the end of the day, it came down to 2 big ones and a bunch of little satellite, cultivators out there. And the rest got shut down because nobody could survive because there was too many to begin with. And this might take 10 years. I'm not saying this is going to turn over in the next 5 years. I hope they all make their millions and run, for the smaller guys. But I'm just saying, at some point, this is going to come to a fucking huge head. And there's going to be way too many producers and not enough consumers. And they're going to all go tits fucking up. Just saying. And it's going to happen one by one by one. And it has happened. I mean, we see some of them losing money now, and we see some of them that have come and gone already. And yes, only the strongest will survive. That's the way it is in all business. But in hindsight, I just think that this is just, they've set themselves up for complete fucking failure. And with the next 10 years, we'll see it all fall apart. That's my prediction. But I also predict that we're not going to have patient growth like we do either. We're going to be down. We're going to get capped. I'm not predicting what. I have no idea what they're going to find reasonable, because with the stats that I've read, an average gram per day, if you're using from the licensed producer, is 2 to 3. The average gram, if you're asking for a grow permit, is 30. So there's a huge discrepancy between 3 and 30.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure exactly where they're gonna end this, where the consultation's gonna come up with the final writing.
Maybe they might end it at 30 if that's the average. You know what I mean? So, or less.
I don't know. Well, they might take the average.
We know that many people got way more than 30, which is ridiculous in a way. A lot of people abuse.
Well, if you're only extracting for your own personal use, is what the license is for, then I don't know what to say on an average count would be. 30 would probably be average if you're extracting and using to make hash and extracts too, right? Yeah. 30 gram would be okay.
And make enough money to pay.
Well,
make enough money to pay for it,
You can't make any money off it. We're not supposed to be making money off it. And that's what they're trying to stop.
You're supposed to be allowed to make the money. No. You're supposed to be allowed to make the money it costs you to do it or something like it. No?
No, absolutely not. Patients aren't allowed to share except until Smith came along. We weren't even allowed to extract until Smith came along.
Oh, I know.
Patients have, in fact, what's funny is you can legally give 30 grams away. You can gift it. You can't sell it. If they catch you selling or see you transacting money on that 30 grams of weed that you shipped off to somebody in the mail, you'd be charged with trafficking. If you're gifting it, you're allowed to give it. You're not allowed to sell it. And that has still been maintained even with legalization. The only legal person that's allowed to sell you cannabis is the guy at the fucking store.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're caught selling on any level, even if within that 30 gram limit, you're still gonna get, I don't even know what you'd get. You get charged with trafficking. As long as you're giving it away, you're allowed. That's why, and I had to find all this out when I was doing that Ganja Fairy giveaway, because it started back with COVID, and it started with the wine fairies, and they were all giving away bottles of wine, which was legal because you're allowed to gift wine, right? You're allowed to gift beer. So we had to double check on the gifting issue with cannabis. As long as it was coming from the store or your own grow, you're allowed to gift up to 30 grams.
Okay, well.
And you can mail it. In fact, Canada Post even has special envelopes for you. If you want to do that. I advise people not to do that, because then it's just alerting the whole fucking world they've got weed in that package. It's like, oh, big fucking neon sign.
Do they actually have special packaging for weed?
They do. They're cannabis packaging, and they're smelly proof envelopes, and I think they cost $19 or something at the post office. Yeah, and that's your postage included, I believe, but yeah.
That's so funny.
Right? But yeah, it's interesting how they've adapted to make sure that the recreational market still is got everything they need, right? Like they've adapted right down to having papers and bongs and pipes and everything right in these recreational stores. So even your bong stores aren't selling as many papers and bongs and paraphernalia they were selling because it's all one-stop shopping now. You can walk into the LCBO, you can grab your pot, you can grab your bong, you can grab papers, you can grab filters, lighters, whatever you want, right? It's all right there now. So that's put, like, even the small bong stores that were running, novelty stores. You can buy them in somebody was telling me you could buy a pipe in the goddamn 7-Eleven. So how is that good for any of these small businesses that were running before legalization? You got prohibition of bongs in Quebec, so they're all running under the wire out there. They're not even allowed to, blow them, never mind sell them. But out here, it's like a fucking free-for-all. Like I said, you can buy anything you want in those stores. They probably sell meth pipes in those fucking legal weed stores. I don't know. Like I said, I don't go in them. But I know they sell papers, and they give papers with a couple times I have been in there. Jimmy's a couple times. Just because I didn't want to drive out to the reserve and grab some really expensive junk. And I got a pack of papers for my problems. Because I have gone to them. I've gone to a couple of them here. Like I said, it's not like I don't have a choice. I mean, I wouldn't pull up to go to the bank the other day, and there's a pot store right next door to the bank now. He goes, is that a pot store? Because all it is like all the windows are all kind of like, all mountains and stuff you can't see, and I'm sure they can see out, but we can't see in, right? And then goes, is that another pot store? I go, yeah.
What are the names of your government stores? Like, are they a bunch of initials? Like, ours are a bunch of initials.
They're not government stores. They're private stores, privately owned.
Oh, okay. So, so at least
we have one.
They each have their own name. Basically, they can have their own name.
We have a BC LCB, right, or cannabis store. There is one. It's right next door to the liquor store. Buy Save On Foods. The liquor store's in the corner, and then their government store is right next door to it, right? So you got a liquor store and pot right side by side. Same, like not even, no distance, no 500 meters, no nothing. And then we've got Jimmy's, which I believe is a chain franchise. We've got Canalift, which is a chain. I don't know what this other mountain one. And there's Premium. I don't even know. And then EK. EK is a privately owned one too, but they still have to sell. It's like having a private liquor store in Alberta. You're still selling Molson. You're still selling, Bacardi. You're still selling Smirnoff. So it's the same as these stores. It doesn't matter which store you go into. They're still selling Tweed, or they're selling who knows, this fucking one, that one, that. There's so many fucking,
At least at least there's diversity and they look different. Like the thing about the Quebec stores is they made them so the Quebec liquor stores are called the SAQs, and so for some reason the pot store is called the SDQ. I think there might even be another letter in there, and they're just sort of like, it's just green, and it just like, it's the most, it looks like the Soviet Union store. I'm serious. It's the most drab, fucking bureaucratic, it looks like fucking Soviet bloc store, okay? And, and whatever, you can't, I haven't been in one yet, but I am going to go in one. I will go in one at some point, but I'm going to say, oh, am I in the Soviet Union? I'm going to do that. And then we go, well, I was like, yeah.
Well, these ones, like I said, they're all privately owned. They're not supposed to advertise, but they all got Facebook pages, and they're all introducing their staff and showing their wares on Facebook. Yet they're not supposed to be advertising. They got, advertising bans. Tamara Boutique up in Kimberley was advertising on the fucking radio. So I don't know about their non-advertising bans. I see them all over the fucking place, Instagram accounts and everything else, right? Like Jimmy's had a big campaign on down here not too long ago where they were introducing their staff on Facebook. And I'm like, yeah, I thought they weren't supposed to advertise. Apparently they're just, yeah, that's right, because Zuckerberg doesn't have to pay that CRDC broadcasting fucking fee yet. And until they do, he's probably not going to change that rule.
Yeah.
Right? And if enough people fucking scream loud enough, they probably won't get C10 through anyways, because people might think they don't have a clue what it's actually to do, and they're all worried about, of course, again, their freedom that they don't have fucking a clue about. So it just flabbergasts me, these people screaming about fucking freedom and they don't even have a cocksucking clue what they're talking about. But that's okay. One of these days I'll have my legal degree, just like Carmen Syed there. I love her. And Carmen Syed there. And I'm going to run around telling people just exactly how it really is. I'm going to have my law degree on a little laminate around my neck. And
she's very talented with
I love
memes, her cartoons,
she's a cartoonist. She doesn't do those. She's got a cartoonist that does it. She just gives them the ideas. But I love the fact that she takes her scooter, and what killed me, I don't know if you've seen her latest video. I've been trying to get her on my show too, but she's pretty good. She's a pretty big celebrity now. I don't know if she can do my Lily show, but she was scooting through, and there was protesters at a vaccination clinic where people were lined up to get their children vaccinated in Toronto. And these women were standing outside this vaccination clinic with their fucking anti-vaxxer signs. So she was standing there with her security and taking video of these ridiculous women bashing her in the head with their signs. Oh
my God.
But here they are harassing parents and children because they don't feel that they should have a vaccine. You know what? Here's my stance. If you don't believe in a vaccine, don't get it. But leave everybody that wants one to have one. We're not harassing you for not getting one. You don't see us lined up against you guys because, first of all, we don't want your dirty, sloppy fucking breath on us. And secondly, but you don't see us protesting against you. Pretty soon when I get my second vaccination, I'm not kidding, Loretta, when these fuckers come down and do their fucking anti-mask rallies, once I got my second vaccine, I'm going to line up on the other side of the street with my signs, and I'm going to say, I've got a right to my fucking health, you fuckers. And I'm going to do it, because once I got my second vaccine, I'm going to go out unmasked and breathe on them too and see how they like it. Well, but if you don't want to counter protest, then don't ask to open a can of whoop ass that you're not waiting for a counteraction for, because I will. And there's going to be a whole whack of us. With our second vaccinations, in fact, there's a whole whack of nurses that are behind me in this town that would love nothing more that once they've got their second vaccination to go out and stand with their masks on and with their scrubs on against these fuckers, because that's how mad they are.
Well, I don't blame them. I mean, I've always, for me, my anger has been about, what people are doing to the hospital system and how hard it is for people to get services and everything.
We were complaining about cannabis patients not getting any respect from doctors. And now we have doctors that are asking for our respect for saving our lives, and we're not giving them any respect either. But we were we've all sat back and said, our doctors are cracks. They don't believe in cannabis. They won't listen to us about the research, blah, 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 blah. So, we've got all these naysayers in our own cannabis community because of the fact that we fed that propaganda too. The doctors were all quacks. They didn't follow the research. They didn't listen to us. So you've got this whole other,
listen, I mean, yes, sure, I complain I call them the white coats, all of this, but no. And I had empathy for the anti-vax movement before COVID, but I have no empathy now because, the idea, but, they're probably the same people who would go and protest at a vaccination clinic are the same people probably who go to, abortion clinics, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. These are the same people. Well, we better take a quick break here and thank our sponsors for letting us still have a show. So we'll be right back. You've been listening to me and Loretta Clark on paceradio.net. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our hydroponics superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville, and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive.
The only way to go.
CTCP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CTCP.
Are you interested in Canadian and international cannabis news? If you are, then catch myself, Kim Cooper, and Al Graham for our live reefer report on the Pace Radio Network, found at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
The People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada is an organization working to improve cannabis legalization in Canada. They have a mission and values that includes all Canadians, no matter where they come from. The values are including everyone, as no one should be excluded from participating, equality, diversity, advocacy, along with cannabis education and research, plus industry, safety, and professional standards. If this is an organization that has the same values as you, check them out at peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Once again, peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Check them out.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Okay.
All right, we are back with Loretta. Yeah. So I can't remember what we were talking about. We were always talking about so many things because my brain's scattered, and it's called podism. Actually, I'm thinking about slowing down on that. If I'm going to be going back to school here, I'm thinking the cannabis consumption might have to slow down. Did you start smoking again? Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back having a few joints a day for sure, and eating a little more. It's been good. I did do some mushrooms there for a little while to kind of reset my brain, and it seemed to help. I'm having my last, I'm getting a scan on Wednesday because I still have this, kind of strange pain in my side and whatever. And, but, I'm doing lots of things. I walk a lot. We've had amazingly beautiful weather here. And I walk along the canal most days. And I really would like to have like walking and toking and talking, twice a week along the canal kind of group thing. That's something like that's always like that could be like a cool lounge program. You know what I mean? When I think about
they have these groups like where these women all meet and they, go for spin class or, walks along the hike. You should do that.
What a PTSD program could be like, or an anti-anxiety program or whatever. Like walking for me is really great medicine, and then walking and having a toke is, it's very, I find that really helps me. It's like my meditation, and I've always done it. It's just something I've always done, and I'm just so grateful that I can do it because it makes me feel so good. But yeah, I kind of see it as sort of that could so easily just be one example of a lounge program, whether it's hiking or walking. Yeah, as a group, then why not?
Well, the laws out there, like here too, you can't smoke in public. I think that's kind of general because of smoking, the smoking bylaw. You can't smoke cigarettes within 6 meters of a doorway of a restaurant or whatever. I'm pretty sure cannabis is no smoking on, and I think they've left it to the cities for bylaws and a lot of that. But I know here you cannot smoke in the park, like even a cigarette. Like cigarettes are not allowed in our parks. It's a bylaw, so you can't smoke anything in a park here. I'm not sure.
It's different in Montreal. It definitely is different. And I smoke along the canal all the time. I think you could do it even as a group. Like, it's like, there's a lot of, on the weekends, maybe not so much because it's very busy. There's a lot of cyclists. There's a bike path, and sometimes you have to share the bike path. But along the canal, in lots of parts, you can be far enough away from even the cyclists. There's a little sort of pathways, and I go during the week usually. Like, I go when it's not busy, because during the week often throughout the year it's
are you guys still under curfew, or did they lift your curfew?
No, we're under curfew till 9:30. I mean, it really doesn't affect someone like me. I'm always home. But I think it has actually made a difference, in terms of our numbers, and obviously the vaccine rollout. Our numbers are definitely coming down. I haven't looked in.
433 new cases in Quebec today. That's the lowest.
Yeah,
and the only reason why I know that is because me, like you, I watch CBC and CNN, and I'm a fucking freak. But but today I was watching it. That's what stuck out, because I didn't really get a chance to watch a lot today because I've been busy. Alvin getting ready, because Alvin left for work today again, and so I was busy all morning, so I didn't really get to sit down and watch the news like in the morning like I normally do. I had to do haircuts and all kinds of fun stuff. So but I did know that's one number that stuck out in my head, was that Quebec was down to the lowest, 433 since September of 2020. So that's fantastic. Where Manitoba is now shipping more patients out to Ontario for critical care because they're surging. And in British Columbia, I don't know, they're talking about maybe depends on what our numbers were today and over the long weekend, they're talking about rolling the restrictions back. And my fear is, God knows we need them, I want the restaurants to have sitting, and I want, but in reality, nothing has stopped around here. We had as many Albertans out here at the goddamn lakes and camping at Horseshoe as we normally do every fucking weekend on a long weekend. Nobody stayed home. Our restaurants that were on the patios were packed from morning till night. Our grocery stores are still pumping out like 150 people an hour. Our kids are still in school. So this little area of Canada really has not felt any effect of COVID, to be fair. So if they lift the restrictions, all that means is that the restaurants, now that have all gotten outdoor patios added, will be able to use their indoor dining as well at 6 whatever restrictions with their masks or whatever the fuck it'll be. So they just have double the fucking venue now. And they get all this shit for free because the city then, waived their fees for permits. The city then cut off half the street downtown Baker for them to be accommodated for. Everybody got free tents from the city. Everybody got free this, free that. So they're all out there free, and within 2 weeks, we're going to have another surge because they just had a long weekend where everybody was out banging their fucking heads together in bars and fucking booming themselves together at the fucking lake. And I'm not kidding you. And they, like, when Alvin went back to Alberta today...
The bars are open now.
The pubs are open if they serve food, you bet.
Yeah, I don't, like, we have, none of that's, like...
On patios only. But the patios are all attached to the bars, so they're still serving food on the patios, and they're all... The fire hall is a tap and grill, okay? So a tap and grill is a bar and restaurant. So they serve the soul food. They're running on their cocktail hour, right? Shenanigans is where I held my cannabis cup, has a patio opening on the back too. It's a pub. But as long as they got a patio, Mr. Mike's put a fucking tent in their goddamn front parking lot. So did Denny's. So did ABC. None of these places had patios before this, but they all just got great big fucking tents and picnic tables and put them out on their front lawns and made patios.
Wow.
Because
so no,
everybody's got to work.
Like I said, bars are opening here June 11th, I think. They haven't been open for a long, long time. So, I mean, I think the lockdown that we've had, and we were on curfew till 8 o'clock for the longest time. We just went to 9:30. The curfew probably did help prevent us from having a third wave, because we were the worst really for the first two waves. And then this, we going on this curfew and this lockdown. I hate to give Legault credit, but I have to because that was his idea. So yeah, it definitely.
I don't
helped.
think this is over. I'm predicting that this is just gonna calm down. For the ones that get vaccinated, they'll get everybody rolled out with their second vaccinations. We're gonna still have a large population of people not vaccinated, and that's gonna affect us all because we're still not 100% protected. Like, we all know that. We all know that's a risk we're taking when we take the vaccine. We're still gonna have that 5% chance of getting COVID, and no, we might not get as sick. And no, we might not end up at the hospital. So we're going to have a whole breakdown of infected and not infected. And still asymptomatic people spreading. Because if they're not vaccinated, they're an asymptomatic, they're out spreading it still. And they won't know because they won't be wearing a mask because they refuse to wear a mask. Because if you're vaccinated, then you should be protected and it shouldn't matter whether I wear a mask or not. So we're going to have a bunch of asymptomatic idiots out there spreading. This is not going away, Loretta.
Well, I know I understand that, as long as you have asymptomatic people spreading it, you're going to have more variants. And, as long as the whole world is not vaccinated, like, there's a lot of countries that are poor that haven't had a vaccine yet. Like, this is why
Taiwan was doing so well too, and now that we got the Taiwanese, foreign minister begging for our AstraZenecas that are going to expire because Canadians are too stubborn or snotty to take them. Like, oh my God, I can't take AstraZeneca, I'm going to have a Pfizer. I didn't give a fuck what they were jabbing in my arm as long as I was getting it jabbed. I didn't give a flying fuck. I didn't ask them, can I see the label on that, please? Like,
people have.
I walk into a cannabis store, I fucking barely ask what the label is. You got this? In fact, I go, Broken Coast, okay, I'll take that because it's the only one that I know that might not let me down. I don't even want to see your fucking pencil shaving fucking pre-rolled garbage for $11.99 anymore. Like, you know what I mean? So that's where it's at. It's just like, it's the same with pot. Like, you take your chances, right? You take your risks. Everything in life's a risk. So, you either get good pot or you get bad pot. You get a good vaccine, you get a bad vaccine. I don't know.
Well, it is inevitable that there will be some people who will have a bad reaction and some people will die. Like,
I make the same. I say the same thing. My dad's allergic to penicillin. My dad is allergic. That's saying don't give anybody penicillin because my dad will die from penicillin. So all the lives that penicillin has saved, because my dad would die from it, don't use penicillin. That'd be like me saying that. No, and that's the reality of it. Well, my dad's 1 in 600,000 people.
Is that it's already saved millions of lives. This vaccine, like, that's the reality already, for sure. And it's changing everything so that we are going back to normal. Like, that is like it. It's happening every day, every week.
My kid even thinks it's. Here's a conspiracy theories at 11. He goes, "Is this vaccine going to turn me into a zombie?" I said, "Did I turn into a zombie?" Well, not yet. You haven't. You haven't had the second vaccine yet. He says apparently it doesn't happen until after the second vaccine. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, did you see my video with the magnet?
No.
Oh, you didn't see the video with the magnet, Loretta? Oh no. My God. So I had this friend of mine ask me if I would do her a favor and see if if a magnet would stick to my arm. So I went and got a magnet off the fridge. Did the old, of course it didn't stick to my arm, but this is the conspiracy theory that people are running around saying that people that get vaccinated, magnets will stick to their arms. So I did a video, I did a TikTok and I did a video on Facebook about it, but it was just like, okay, if that's what you think, and if it means me showing you that this magnet's not going to stick to my arm, that it might steer you in the direction of maybe going to get a vaccine here. No, it doesn't stick. Like it was the weirdest shit ever. But these are some of the things that people are being told. But again, you go to these people, the government lied to us about pot for 70 years. What makes you think they're not lying to us? No. Right. The thing is, they weren't really lying to us about pot. They just said it was bad. We all knew the difference. They just wanted to keep it criminalized. So they were lying, yeah, but were they lying about it being bad, good, or ugly? They just said it was a devil's lettuce, which we knew was a lie. They didn't,
Sure.
But again, the government has lied. So
I know, like I wonder when like I feel, because I watch a lot of American television, and with the kind of shows like, CNN has that show with Camus Bell, 50, the United Shades of America.
Yeah, I watched that one too. That's a good one.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of, the level of talk about the war on drugs is rising. The level of talk is rising, like, because at some point the talk has to become normalized, where we hear politicians say this was an inhumane social policy for half a century. This destroyed, like, there's numbers out there, there's ways of calculating, even though so many kind of invisible deaths, like, because there's no probably like one war on drugs, death list, but so many like murders and suicides, like, are attributed to it, and people who die in prison, and just like there's just so many kinds of deaths and overdoses, even like celebrities who overdose. Like, doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, the overdosing is such a reality, because the war on drugs doesn't enable people to have like proper testing, like what Dana does in Vancouver. That should be like so widespread. So
we have one of those testing machines here because of Shambhala,
which is great. That's great. Like it should be in every.
And the guys at Shambhala are terrific too. Like the people that run Sham out here, because that's a great big huge rave. There's lots of drugs being used there, but they all have harm reduction sites on that site. I've never been there. It's not somewhere that I actually really want to go. But I know lots of people that have been to Shambhala, and that's one thing they say. They've got medics, they've got drug testing tents, they've got anchors out there testing drugs, they've got people with Narcan out there. Everybody's trying to be as safe as they possibly can with whatever is out there, right? But right now, we've had, I hate to say it, like 5 deaths in a week in my little town. In my little town, that doesn't happen. Like it's all overdoses, and it's young people, and we've had 5 in a week. That's downtown East Side stuff, not downtown Cranbrook stuff. And downtown East Side is getting more like 20 and 30 a day, and it's working its way into our little town to 5 a week, and that breaks my heart because
I'm sure Montreal has a high number too. I don't know what it is, but I have no doubt that it's a high number. I was on the metro. And and I got taken off the metro because somebody had just jumped, and and I know that it's definitely high. Like for sure, the pandemic has brought a whole extra wave of death, and and it's highlighting a lot of the inequities. That's a for sure thing, and one of them is, it's highlighting, like, more and more people are taking their lives and overdosing. And it's showing the the ridiculousness and the cruelty of the war on drugs. I think it's showing that even more poignantly than before. So I just I hope I just always want to try and get politicians, push them into a place, because I know right now, like, they're baffled if, like, you try to think, like, I want them to admit that they owe people an apology for the war on drugs. I think there should be an apology.
I believe that too.
They're like so not there yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're so not there, but in reality, that should come one day.
Well, it's like victim services charges and a possession charge on cannabis. Like, who's the victim in a possession charge? Like, I paid $350 in victim services charges for a possession charge for 6 grams of cannabis. I mean, $350 is a lot of money to us. At that point in time, I wasn't a single mom, but I was, my kids were with my parents, but I was, living with Alvin. We weren't working. Like, we were poor. Like, we're poor. Even now, we're poor. We're poor. Like, even though Alvin works, we're not rich people. A $350 fine to me is a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you get a $150 fine, you get a $300 fucking victim surcharge on a possession charge for cannabis. Who the fuck is the victim in that crime? Me. Yeah. I'm the victim for fucking having to be post-traumatic stress and for being arrested and thrown in a jail cell in my pajamas, for fuck's sakes. You know what I'm saying? Well, that was for 6 grams of cannabis. That's when I had to call my mom and dad to come and drive our vehicle because they gave Alvin a 24-hour suspension and they charged me with possession because, so I had to call my parents, and like we were like in our 40s, for fuck's sakes, to come and help us get our vehicle because they wouldn't let Alvin drive it away, right? It was just, so many, and I was in my late 30s before I was ever charged with any drug charges, and it was before I had my license, and in the trafficking I had my license. And, that's before we could give anything away to another patient. Sharing wasn't allowed. So 4 grams in the mail to another patient, that's not trafficking. Now it's sharing. Now it's not illegal. But when you did it, you knew you were doing it. You knew it was illegal. You broke the law. That's what I hear from people. And I can poke them in the fucking eye. You did the crime, did the time. Yeah, I did the crime. And now you don't have to fucking worry about it. You're welcome.
Yeah. No, that's what exactly, like the idea that, look, there's so many deaths attributed to the war on drugs. Because there's like the overdoses, there's murders, there's suicides,
rape. There's rape. There's so much rape and so much bullshit, like so much rape that never makes it to a fucking inside of a courtroom because some fucking squid fucking has something that is just, or the Crown prosecutor doesn't feel they've got enough. And there's so many women that don't report or that do report that don't get any fucking justice at all. And that's a big thing. Sexual assault in the RCMP, sexual assault in their military. What about the average woman that gets raped on a daily basis that goes to the police and they don't fucking believe her? Or goes to the police and they do believe her, but the Crown doesn't have enough fucking evidence. Or doesn't feel he has enough evidence to pull the fucking... And in BC, you have to have enough evidence to pull the fucking conviction card. Or they're not going to run that case. And I am not kidding you. This was the only fucking province in the whole country that the police can do the investigate, and then that little guy behind the box reads through your files and says, I think he could get off on this little technicality. We're not going to run it. Bye. And there goes that file of fucking 3 years of a cop wasting his life on a rape case. That's not enough. 7,000 pages of evidence, but it's not enough. That makes me want to fucking throw up.
Well, there's a lot of things that have to change, and
that's not justice for anybody. And then people wonder why women don't report rape, and they wonder why they don't talk about it.
No, of course, it's just I mean that has to change. Like, there's so much that has to change, and COVID again, like I said, has made a lot of things very clear. But the war on drugs, it's just like all it ever did was create more violence, and more victims, way more victims, more suicides. It never stopped, and it created more drugs. Like, it exponentially created more drugs. Like,
I think what kills me is when I hear people say that they should throw drug addicts in jail so that they can get hard recovery. And I laugh and I say, you know what? All they do is lead them into higher addiction, because there's more overdoses in federal prisons right now than there is on the streets. Besides the simple fact that there's just as many drugs inside a federal prison as there is on the streets, and half the time they're better. So you throw somebody that's got a drug addiction into federal prison, they're just going to keep doing the drugs and come out just as addicted. So you're not helping them in any way, shape, or form except for giving them more criminal education. Same with provincial jails.
People just say that. It's just like, it's such a, it's such a right-wing punishing mentality. And, look, the countries that have the least amount of crimes don't have that punishing mentality. You know what I mean? But that is like such a almost like a right wing thing. Like they need to whatever, we taught a lesson and whatever. It's just like it's nonsense. It's like it should be all addiction should be treated like a healthcare issue, not like a goddamn criminal issue. I mean, it's just stupid.
I know that's we've said that for a decade. It's always been a health issue, right? And it should be treated as a health issue. And I'm not sure that it is. Was it the Netherlands? Is that where we're at with that? They're the ones that have the red light district, right?
Yeah, they
over in Amsterdam.
They also the way they don't have a drug war there. And they have been closing down prisons for years, because they don't have a lot of crime because they don't have the drug war there really. I'm not saying it's not there in some, because it's everywhere in the world, but they just know you need drugs, you can get them, and they just like I said, the more socialist the country, it seems the less violence. I don't know. That's they have they are the healthiest and the happiest people in the world as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's a good thing that we've got so many other countries that are seeing the use and doing the research on the fact that small amounts of drugs. People can function. I know even in Britain, they're, with alcohol, they've got some of those hotels where they're actually giving them small amounts of alcohol over the day. And these men are functioning. They can hold down a job. They're getting just the amount of alcohol, kind of like a dosing, a bill, one beer or whatever it is, or one pint every so often kind of thing.
Harm reduction,
Yeah, totally harm reduction. And that's what we need to see more of. And I wish Trudeau's government would see it, but like I said, he's got a hard pill to push through because of some of these old liberals that just are so hell-bent against seeing any kind of drug reform. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's the younger generation of the liberals, because it was young liberals that helped us push through the cannabis policy. So it might be the young liberals that we have to hit again when it comes to drug reform changes.
Yeah, I think they are working on it, the younger ones, for sure. I mean, at this point, I think most people have a family member who, has an issue with addiction or mental health. It's so a part of all of our realities.
Unfortunately.
And the thing is, the war on drugs just made things so much worse for people.
I know.
It made things so unsafe. It kind of created a criminal factory, just became like a factory of criminals that, there was nothing good came of it.
No.
And, Portugal's really a country that decriminalized all drugs and, provided the health care, and they saw a reduction in everything, suicides, homicides, blah, blah, blah. And then, the socialist Northern European countries, where they don't really, like I say, have the same drug war mentality, and they are going towards more treating it like a healthcare issue. It just changes everything when you change that dynamic. And, we suffer from living next to the United States, which is the most punitive in the world when it comes to the drug war. Or, maybe not, because in other countries, they would shoot you. But look, in Thailand, they used to be really, punitive and shoot people. And now they're now they've got a medical cannabis program, and, they're selling it in their hospitals, you know what I mean? So they've changed. So, things can change, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we can always hope, right? We can always hope that they do change. Well, we've made it through our hour. Yeah, we've made it through our hour.
goes by like
it does go by fast. It just goes flying because we get off topic and we're supposed to be talking about pot and glass blowing. We get out of COVID.
Well, we stream around.
We can do whatever we want. This is our show. You know what? When I put up the thing, I always say it's pot and politics. So there's a vast variety of topics that we can talk about, and we never said we couldn't talk about everything. We can talk, and we're explicit.
We talk about politics, and it's great. Awesome.
Okay, say goodbye. Awesome. Say goodbye, Loretta. We're done, and say goodbye, Loretta, because we can.
Peace and love, everyone. Peace and love below and above.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week. Those nights in Montreal, all I think about is weed.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
The People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada is an organization working to improve cannabis legalization in Canada. They have a mission and values that includes all Canadians, no matter where they come from. The values are including everyone, as no one should be excluded from participating, equality, diversity, advocacy, along with cannabis education and research, plus industry, safety, and professional standards. If this is an organization that has the same values as you, check them out at peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Once again, peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Check them out.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
The People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network provides its listeners with news, information, and a place to be heard. This is done with a twice-weekly broadcast of the Reefer Reporters and by providing cannabis advocates a place to be heard through Cannabis and Coffee with Tamara and the award-winning Pace Radio Show. Catch it all here at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
What is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network? It's a network of people advocating cannabis education.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CP.
Who has huge buds? You do. If you shop at BMA Hydroponics, attend one of BMA's educational seminars and learn the secrets of growing cannabis products. Learn how to make better extracts, edibles, and medicinal creams at prices you can afford. Visit BMA Hydroponics at 404 Maitland Drive, Belleville, or call 613-967-9888.
the only way to go.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.